Are you working? Yes, it's working. All right. How exciting. Yeah, I found the answer. YouTube. All right.
Give a shout out to them people for actually putting the answer in.
All right. So tonight I'm having a bonus stream. It's something new that I'm trying out, and we're just going to see if it works and see if there's any interest in it. And I'll probably do it for like a month or so, even if there's not, just to see, just to get it out there. But what we're going to do is a just chatting stream, which is different and exciting. And we're going to talk about money, all right? Monday night money. And the reason that I wanted to do this is because we don't talk enough about money in the United States. It's still very taboo to talk about money. And I'm in my own little bubble on Twitter in the personal finance world because we're all talking about money there, and it feels a lot more normal there. But in real life and on Twitch and with gamers and things like that, it's still a little bit taboo. And a lot of people are on Twitch to make money as a side hustle. A lot of you guys want to be Twitch affiliates and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people will say, oh, I'm trying to become a Twitch affiliate just to build a community, because it sounds bad to say, I want to be a Twitch affiliate to make money off of streaming. People don't like that. It makes you sound rude or like a sellout or something like that. And I think we need to normalize that a little bit more. I think we need to realize that life costs money, right? We all need money to live. And so it's not a bad thing to try different ways to earn it, like maybe Twitch, or there's millions of other side hustles that we can work out, and we're going to talk about that stuff. Hey, Tret, it's nice to see you today. How are you doing? Hope you enjoy this kind of different type of stream tonight where we talk about money more so than gaming. Oh man, I just like move and my entire computer shakes. So I'm gonna try not to do that. I also have a dummy bear hanging out on my computer desk. So 1 in the morning. You know what? 1 in the morning is a perfect time to talk about money. There's nothing wrong with money talks in the middle of the night, you know? Or you can go to bed. That works too. But I appreciate you coming and saying hi. I know you're a little bit younger, so I don't know what the stigma is for or against talking about money in Sweden. I think that would be an interesting thing to talk about on this stream, maybe not today, but on other days, if the taboo is the same in other countries as it is in the United States. You know, it's super, super rude to ask others about their salary. You're not supposed to ask people what they make. You're not supposed to even ask your coworkers what they make. And you know who that hurts and who that helps? That helps the employers, right? That doesn't help your coworkers. That helps the employers, because that means the employers don't have to pay everybody the same wage. It's not bad to talk to your coworkers about money. It is not bad to find out how much money your coworkers make. You might find out that you're making $10,000 a year more than your coworker for the same work, or less. And wouldn't it be more fair if the employer paid you guys the same amount of money for the same work? And it helps the employer not to do that, because maybe I prefer not to negotiate. Maybe I'm not good at negotiating salary. Maybe I don't really know my own worth. And the employer is getting a great deal out of hiring me for $10,000 a year, $20,000 a year cheaper than everybody else there. But that's not really fair to me, is it? Just because I don't negotiate, or because I don't know what the general salaries are? And I don't blame the employers for getting away with what they can get away with, but in order to break that taboo, we should talk more about salaries. We should be open with telling each other what we make and prevent employers from taking advantage of people. So anyway, I'm going to go back into why I decided to do this via Twitch. I love Twitch. You know, I'm a gamer. I do my streams on Wednesday night and Friday night and Sunday. And Sunday was not a good stream for that fun doxing good times. And we're going to hope that doesn't happen again. But Twitch is a great platform. And the cool thing about Twitch is that there's so many people on Twitch who like different things and who have different ideas and different strengths and different, what's the word for when... different hobbies. See, I can't even talk today, man, I suck. So when I was just lurking through some of the just chats, there was a dum-dum wanted to make an appearance on camera. when I was lurking through some of the just chats, I thought it was very interesting the wide variety of topics that people were talking about in the just chats version of Twitch. There were cooking shows, there were fishing shows, there were shows about people working out. There was this one talk show where people were just discussing other people's streams. There's not a lot of money talk though, which is sad because money is all around us. You know, everything in our lives is about money, whether we like to admit it or not. We have to pay for food to eat, we have to pay for shelter, we have to pay for utilities, we have to pay for insurance. Like every single aspect of our lives costs money. And we don't talk about that. We don't talk about how to afford these things. We don't talk about how to make more money so that we're saving extra money after we buy all these things that we need. And I think that's a problem. And I think Twitch is a good place to start because the people on Twitch might not be thinking about it overtly like the people on finance Twitter are. But it's still important to them. It's still important to all of us. So I thought it would be a good place to start because there's so many different streams on Twitch about different topics, and because I think it's a need that hopefully I'm gonna fill. So I'm also gonna post these on YouTube afterwards. I know they're probably gonna be horrible, especially the first ones when I'm trying to kind of find my groove and find what I'm talking about. I did write down a little bit of an outline to hopefully help me get through this hour. It's my first try, so bear with me. I'd really love some chat engagement. Ask some questions about money. Give your opinion on some of the stuff that we're talking about. Do you think it's good that salaries aren't discussed in the United States? Do you think it's bad? Why or why not? Send me chat messages and let's talk about these things. That's what I want to do. I mean, there's 7 people in here, and I want to hear what your money questions are. I want to hear what your money concerns are. I want to talk with you guys about money and normalize these money conversations. So if you have any burning questions, just ask. Feel free to ask. Remember, I am not certified financial advisor, so I will not give you stock tips. I will not tell you how to invest your money. I will not do any of those specific things, but we can have bigger picture conversations about money, and I think that's super important. I think that's something that is lacking, especially in the gamer community, and we should talk about that for a minute too. There's a stereotype, you know, about gamers. Like, I'm sure you guys have heard it. The loser gamer stereotype, the all he does.
You're on Twitch.
I know, it's a stereotype. All they do is sit around in their parents' basement and eat Cheetos, you know, and things like that. And that's a stereotype. It's not the truth, you know. I'm a gamer. I love games. I mean, I'm not a serious gamer because I suck at games, but but I like playing the games, you know, and I'm not living in my parents' basement. I have a house and things like that. And I think a lot of gamers are in the same boat. I don't understand why gaming as a hobby got such a bad freaking rap to it, you know? Like, where did that come from? Where did it come from that gamers suck with money, or that gamers are losers, or things like that? I don't know. Some of the people who make the most money online are freaking Twitch streamers, gamers, you know? Like, some of these folks are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month gaming. Are they loser gamers because they just sit around and play video games all day? I don't think so.
That's now. There's a platform. Before this, tell me how to make money with playing video games. Other than paying attention.
Okay, so Useless Hamster doesn't want to participate in the actual chat. He just wants to talk to me from a distance and give his opinion, but I know you guys can't hear his comments over the microphone. So he was asking where that stereotype came from. And he was saying that it's a stereotype for a reason, because before Twitch became a platform, it was kind of true that gamers were kind of losers and weren't making money.
What I'm saying is there's no way to make money playing video games. It just was literally
Okay.
that in.
So he was saying there was no way to make money playing video games prior to, Rambo's Poopy's hat, prior to Twitch. That it was literally a dead end. I have to wear the Rainbow's Poopies hat for 5 minutes. I'm still gonna do that on this stream. I don't care. 5 minutes of Rainbow's Poopies hat. I usually forget after I've been wearing it for a long time, but it's really hot today, so I may not forget. So it's 7:16 right now. I have to wear the hat. And you know what? I actually pulled my hair back and made it look okay today, and this is gonna totally mess it up, and that's just not cool. But anyway, you know what? He's right. That's probably why it was a stereotype in the first place, because there was no way to make money off of it before Twitch and YouTube became as big as they are. But in my opinion, that's not terrible, because we can talk about another aspect of side hustles and making money, and that is the need to grind 24/7. Some of the folks on Money Twitter are like, if you're not grinding, that's why you're poor, or you need to be making money when you sleep, or if your hobby's not profitable, what are you even doing? And you know what? I think that stuff is such BS, because it is okay to have a hobby. It is okay to not think about making money constantly, 24/7. Sometimes you just need to relax and veg out, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a hobby that is not profitable. That's okay, right? Now, I'm a little bit different because most of my favorite hobbies can be profitable. So I'm a blogger, as you can see. Partners in Fire is my Twitch name, but it's also the name of my blog. And I have a YouTube channel. And I'm finally at the point where I think I'm at the cusp of making my blog something that people can actually read, and I can actually make some money off of it. And some will say that I'm selling out by trying to make money off of the blog, but that was my goal in the first place. And it's fun for me, you know? It's fun for me to try this thing and see if I can make money off of it. That's fun. And it de-stresses me sometimes. Like, I get to write about stuff, and I get to post it on my blog, and I get to build this entire huge community on Twitter, and it's just so much fun. But that doesn't mean it's fun for everybody, and I understand that, and I respect that. Some people have other hobbies that aren't profitable. It's not profitable to read a book. I mean, you might learn something, but it's not really profitable, especially when you're just reading fiction. Like,
Education is not considered.
It's not profitable.
Education is not considered destructive debt because they can't take the knowledge with it.
Watching TV is probably worse than video games because you're not doing anything. You're just sitting there like absorbing it. Whereas with the video game, you're acting in it. And I feel like you probably get more out of that than you get out of watching TV. But yet nobody says that people who watch TV are losers, because everybody watches TV. So nobody is like, oh, well, you watched an hour of TV today. You're just a loser sitting in your parents' basement. You know, nobody says, oh, well, some people do make fun of you for watching 4 or 5 or 6 hours of TV. I get that can be a little bit excessive, but I think we all need hobbies and things that we can do that just bring us joy regardless of whether they're profitable or not. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I don't know why the hobby of video gaming became this horrible thing. I think it's because there's this like tiny set of very, very vocal, we'll call them the vocal minority, group of gamers who make their entire life about the game. And they refuse to have actual relationships. They give up going to their job to game. And this is true for Twitch and outside of Twitch as well. You have some people who give up everything because they're like, I'm going to be the next big streamer, so I don't have to have a job. And let's be honest, that's just not realistic, you know? Like, I get the dream. I have the dream too, but I'm not quitting my full-time job yet because I have 1 subscriber. So, you know, like that's just not realistic to put all of your eggs in that Twitch basket before it even becomes a thing for you when you're very small. And people have probably destroyed their lives trying to do it, and that probably leads to that stereotype. And then people think they're losers. They're just putting all of their time into gaming, and they're not even having relationships with their friends or their family anymore. And at that point, I feel like it might become more of an addiction than even a hobby or a game or something like that. And I think a lot of the problem with that is because of our society. Like, I know probably most of you don't read Partners in Fire, the blog, and I'm hoping to change that. Maybe this little extra Monday Night Money stream will change that a little bit and make you want to read that. But one of the main themes on that blog is financial independence for everyone, because there is a problem with our society where a lot of people don't have the opportunities to achieve financial independence or to even achieve financial security. You know, like, we call the United States the land of opportunity, and everybody has equal opportunity to get rich and do all these things, and you can do anything that you want to do if you just work for it. But unfortunately, that's become kind of a myth, you know? The United States has one of the lowest economic mobility of all the developed nations. It's easier to get ahead in pretty much every other developed country than it is in the United States, because we do have a real poverty trap in the U.S. And I know this is getting really deep for my first episode, and I didn't mean to, but I didn't write a good enough of an outline to give me enough content on normalizing conversations about money. But anyway, it is true that people who are born into poverty have a lot harder lives and a lot harder of a time than people who aren't. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and the opportunities to switch classes, go from poor to rich, get less and less and less with each generation. And that's sad, and that's something that we need to fix. And I think part of fixing that is normalizing these conversations about money. We need to talk about money. We need to talk about how the poor think about money as opposed to how the rich think about money, because they're two completely different money mindsets if you really look at it. We need to talk about whether money actually is evil or not. Oh, I wore this for way longer than 5 minutes, Tret. You got a good value out of that one. See, channel points are even a type of currency, you guys. So everything is about money. It's just life. But anyway, I was getting hot and my forehead was sweating. That's why I was like, I wonder how long I've been wearing this hat for. And as it turns out, I was wearing that hat for 7 minutes. Oh, Captain Rude. Put it right back on. All right. All right, I'll wear it longer. And I will hydrate. Stendhal, thank you. I actually needed that. Thank you, because it was hot. I really need central air at my house in Pennsylvania. So I just have 2 tiny little window units here. And yeah, it is better economically because it's cheaper. And central air is very expensive. It can be $300 a month for energy bills. And I have quite a large house, so it does take a lot to heat and cool. But Pennsylvania is not supposed to get as hot as it does. Like, seriously, it's been in the 90s all the time, and the humidity is through the freaking roof. Like, I thought I was not going to deal with humidity as much anymore when I left Georgia. You know, I had central air in Georgia, and let me tell you, that was awesome, but expensive. And unfortunately, the air conditioner at that house keeps breaking. It broke back in June, and it took 3 weeks for my home warranty company to fix it. And then it broke again yesterday. I'm like, this has been fixed for 45 days. Obviously, you did not do a good job of repairing it, right? Like, obviously. But unfortunately, the repairs were only guaranteed for 30 days. So I had to pay another service fee to have it repaired again. And, you know, it takes these companies like 3-4 weeks to get out there, to fix it, and to order the parts and do all the things. So I have a renter who is in the house right now, and now they have to deal with 100-degree weather and no air, and that sucks. Stendhal, you live above a mini mart and get all sorts of extra heat from the fridges. Oh man, that sucks. Do you have extra air conditioning to help vent that out? That sounds terrible. But I wonder, is it better in the wintertime? Because in the wintertime, you probably save money on heating, right? I have a blog post about how to save money on heating. And that is not one of the tips on that blog post, but maybe it should be. Live above some place that produces a ton of heat so that the heat rises and you're a lot cooler. Oh, air conditioning is not a thing in Scotland. See, you win some, you lose some, right? Like, it's hotter in the summer, but it helps a lot in the winter. And how is the climate in the summer? Is it as hot and humid as it can be in maybe the southern United States or even up here? Because I would think that it's a lot milder. I think it's more like a Canadian type climate. I don't know though. I've never been to Scotland. I would love to visit someday. And maybe one of our Monday Night Money episodes will talk about how to afford affordable travel when we're not in a pandemic. Because right now, traveling is not the answer. So I already had to cancel 2 different trips because of the pandemic, because it's just best not to travel in that type of environment. So anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about before we started talking about that, but I think we were talking about money mindsets and talking about whether money is evil or not. The thing is, come on, cat, my kitty is definitely right now just rubbing his face against my computer. I guess he just wants to be involved. I don't know. But anyway, cat. Seriously, cat? Thanks. So it seems to have less. So heat seems to be less of a problem, but I can still tell that if you live in a mini mart God, I can't speak today. If you live above a mini mart and get all that heat rising, if it's 18 degrees, then that gets even hotter in the apartment. Do you guys do fans or window units, or just not a lot of air conditioning at all? It's interesting. It's interesting to learn about how different countries with different climates, and even in the United States, like central air is not a big thing in Pennsylvania because it's not really supposed to get this hot. Whereas in California and Georgia, it was a necessity to have those types of central cooling systems in your home because it's so hot in those different regions. When I was growing up, my house in Chicago did not have windows. I meant a window unit, like there's a difference between central air, which you have the ducts and the vents and everything goes through it, and a window air conditioner unit, which is just that box thing that gets put in the window. And they're actually they're more cost effective to have that window unit, but they don't blow the air out as well. They don't cool the house as well. Not all of the rooms get the cooling that the other rooms get. So that's a problem. Like, I have this really large drawing room that's like my living room. It's 2 rooms really. It's the living room and I guess a dining room, and then further on is the kitchen. But it's almost one big room, not the kitchen, but the other 2 are almost one big room. And I have one itty bitty window unit, and it's maybe 10 feet away from me right now, and it barely cools me right now. And it's way worse when it's like super hot outside. So I kind of miss my central air, even though that's a huge cost for maintenance and upkeep on a central air unit. I do pay a service expert like $200 a year just to come out and service my central air unit, and it's still broken. And like I said, they're coming out again sometime this week to fix whatever the other problem is. And man, that's just like the cost of being a landlord. I know landlords, this is probably like a super hot topic right now because landlords are getting a ton of hate. I see it all over Reddit. Landlords are horrible for evicting people in a pandemic and all of this stuff, and landlords should have the money to pay for these rentals, and if they didn't want to take the risk of having somebody not pay rent, then they shouldn't have been a landlord, and all of these things. And yeah, for a giant corporation whose job is being a landlord, I can understand that. But for people who are in my situation, who have maybe one or two rentals, and the only reason I kept my rental is because I can't afford to sell the house because I don't have enough equity in it. I mean, it's really tough, you know. Luckily, I've had renters who are paying the rent and not paying the rent when they're in there, but every time something breaks down, that's $500 here, $1,000 there, $2,000 here. They wanted to charge me $3,500 to paint the house. $3,500 just to paint. Like, that's insane, you know? That's so much freaking money. And small landlords, like, it's so difficult for us to afford these types of things. I'm sure I'll get most of the money back at the end of the year with taxes because you can write off all of your expenses. But in the meantime, like, it's tough, man. I'm trying to get to my financial independence, but also I have all of these bills to pay because something always wants to break it down in the house. So for any of you considering being a landlord, those are things to consider. I know Captain Marissa said that she has some rentals. It's hard though. Like, I don't think I would want to have more than one rental property. I don't even want my one rental property because it sucks. It stresses me out every time I get an email from my property management company. I am stressed out, man. My anxiety goes through the roof because I'm like, what is the problem now and how much money is it going to cost to fix it? Because it seems like there's always a problem. And the same goes with my house in Pennsylvania. I bought it as a fixer-upper, so I knew that there were going to be issues. But man, I had no idea how many issues there were going to be. It turns out the upstairs bathroom leaked into the kitchen. I didn't know that when I bought it. I thought it just needed a makeover. I didn't realize the entire plumbing was messed up. Oh, you're managing it on your own? God, that sounds even worse. It's not my manager giving me problems. It's just the tenant will complain about a problem. And it's not that anybody's fault. It's the house's fault for sucking. But there's a problem and it needs to be fixed. And I get that. I understand that. I understand the process. And I understand that it's my responsibility to fix as the landlord. However, it is stressful because it's always just more money. Like, I'm trying to keep it so I can build a little bit of equity in it and hopefully sell it at something that's not a loss to me someday. That's like my hope. That's what I'm really trying to go for. And it seems like every time I turn around, there's another problem with it, or the same problem over and over again because it was not fixed correctly the first time. Oh, it's been like 10 minutes almost, Captain. You got great value out of that rainbow poop hat time, I tell you what. And I'm still a little bit warm. But I don't know, I'm concerned about my property manager. I'm not sure if they're giving me problems or not, but $3,500 to paint a single family home, that seemed excessive to me. Oh, that needs to cover up that. See, I was talking about fixer-uppers, that hole in the wallpaper right there. That's a beautiful thing. I'm sure you really enjoy my 1950s decor in this house. I was going to fix it the first year I bought it, but there's so many other problems with it. Like I said, we just started working on the upstairs bathroom instead because it wasn't even functional, and so I haven't had time to do most of the cosmetic issues with it because I'm always trying to deal with some other issue. Like when I first moved in, there was a plumbing issue outside of that bathroom. The sewer line was backed up, so we had to go and pay a plumber to power what's that machine called that goes down the drain? A snake. To power snake the entire drain all the way out past the property line to get rid of that clog. And that was like $1,000, you know. And then of course the heater wants to stop working, and that's another $500, $1,000. So like, you want to save up this money so you can fix these things like the horrible wallpaper, but then something else happens. It's just a bigger problem that's more important than ugly decor, and you end up spending your money on that to make the house livable, whereas the ugliness is livable, it's just hideous. So yeah, I know, Captain, $3,500 to paint is excessive. I actually sent my boyfriend down to paint the house, and that cost what, like $600 total? Plus gas to and from Savannah. Like, yeah, that was way cheaper. And he obviously did a good enough job because the renters liked it and they didn't have any problems with the paint job. And they moved right on in. So I'm like, why would you want to charge me $3,500 for this? So I was wondering if the property manager might have been getting kickbacks from the painting company, because everything they wanted to do seemed a little bit excessive. Like the carpeting, it's a 3-bedroom house. I have the master bedroom on the left side, and then it's like a split floor plan. So the master bedroom on the one side, and then the kitchen, then the living room, and then on the far other side are 2 smaller bedrooms. Now, I changed the master bedroom carpet after I moved into the house, so it's less than 3 years old. The carpets on the other side I knew needed to be changed. So when they said they wanted to replace the carpets, they were giving me a bill for like $1,500 to replace the carpets. And I was like, that seems excessive. What are you doing? And they're like, oh, we're going to do all 3 rooms. And I was like, no, you're not. There's nothing wrong with the master bedroom carpet. It's almost brand new. It's less than 5 years old. And I know the standard is change it every 5 years. So it's less than 5 years old. And they're like, well, we just wanted it to match. Like, no, you just wanted to like take me for extra money, you know? That's what you wanted. So so that's why it's important, I think, to have these conversations about money, because some people might not know that they can say no to their property manager and say, no, I'm not paying to have your company paint this for $3,500, or I'm not paying for you to recarpet this bedroom that does not need to be recarpeted. You know, I don't think I would have had the strength or known that I could do that if my boyfriend, useless hamster, didn't tell me, like, what are you doing? That's excessive. Don't do that. like sometimes you just don't know these things because nobody teaches you things. I didn't have a basic financial literacy course when I was in high school or college. Like, nobody teaches you what you need to know about managing a property or being a landlord, or even the most basic finances. Like, I didn't learn any of that stuff. I just had to figure it out for myself. And I know that's really hard for a lot of people. It's hard for me. My parents are terrible with money. Oh my God, you guys. My parents cannot save $20 to save their freaking lives. And the same goes for my brother and my sister. Like, my brother has a good job and he's got no retirement savings. My sister, I wish it were in school too. Like, what did I learn in school about money? I learned economics. I learned what supply and demand meant. I learned all of that stuff, but I didn't even learn what an investment was. I didn't learn what a 401k was. I didn't learn about paying taxes. Like, oh my God. Okay, I should close this out with a story about how I learned about taxes. We got about 20 minutes left, and this story should probably take about 20 minutes, so feel free to ask questions about the story as I go. So this is how I learned about income taxes. I was maybe 16 or 17 years old. I don't remember. Probably younger. Actually, I was younger than that. I think I was 14 or 15. So my parents made me deliver papers with them. They started their own flyer delivery service, and they basically made my brother, my sister, and I help them deliver the papers. And at the time, I was angry about it because what kid wants to like go? I mean, some kids do. A paper route is a very viable first job for plenty of kids. A lot of kids do it, but I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to work, and I didn't want to work because I was forced to work either. Like, if I wanted to work, I wanted to do it on my own. But I was quite young, and my parents were like, well, after school, you're delivering papers. That's it. Too bad. On the weekend, every Sunday, you're delivering papers. That's your life now. And like I said, at the time I was mad, but I realized that my parents needed us to do that in order for them to be able to pay the bills. So it's kind of unfortunate. Like, we were very lower middle class, and it's unfortunate that they had to force their kids to work so that they could afford their lives. You know, that sucks. That shows like a huge problem with our financial system, that, you know, the middle class has to make those decisions. It also shows a huge problem with our financial literacy because my parents were so bad with money that they had to make that decision as well. I think they probably could have made some better choices, but unfortunately I wasn't privy to that information. So anyway, here I am, 14 years old, delivering my papers, and I think I started doing the paper delivery when I was 12. but they didn't start paying us until they started hiring more neighborhood kids. And since they started paying the other neighborhood kids, they decided that they would start paying us as well. So they started paying us, but they paid us as 1099 employees. And can anybody guess what that means? Anybody, any guesses of what that meant about how they paid us? So basically, we were independent contractors for our parents. I'll give you guys a minute to answer the question if anybody wants to. I know some of you are from other countries, so you probably have no idea what that means, but if you're in the United States and you have an idea about what it means that my parents made us be independent contractors. All right. Well, nobody wants to answer, and that's fine. So I'll just give away the answer. It means that taxes were not taken out of our paychecks. So we had no idea that we were even supposed to pay taxes. Like, I was 14, my brother was 15. My sister was a little bit older, so she probably had a better idea, but she probably still didn't even know. So at the same time, since I was a baby, actually, my grandmother was, on my mom's side, she was one who actually knew a tiny little bit about money. So she started a savings account for me, my brother, and my sister when we were born. And every birthday and every Christmas, she would give us a check. And she would write on that check for deposit only. She would not allow us to have that freaking money. And you know, when I was 6 or 7, I was mad, man. I was like, I want this $25. You know how many G.I. Joes I can buy with this? But I think they were $4 each. So that's like, 5 or 6 G.I. Joes I could have bought with that $25. But no, I had to put it in the bank because my grandma was only giving it to me for that reason. So since this happened since I was little, by the time I was 14 or 13 or whatever age, I had like $600-700 in that bank account. And that was a lot. I wasn't allowed to withdraw any of it until I was 18 or 19. Like, that was the rules. That was supposed to be the rules. That's what my grandma said. And that's what my parents stuck to because they wanted to follow her wishes. But come tax time, my dad did my taxes for my brother and I. And first he messed up our social security numbers. He switched mine and my brother's. So that was a good time to try to get that straightened out with the IRS a few years later. But I didn't know it at the time because what 14-year-old knows their social security number? Not me. I don't know if any of the other ones did, but I surely did not. So anyway, my dad does our taxes. And lo and behold, my brother and I both have a $600 or $700 tax bill. Because none of the money, and looking back, I feel like that was excessive for the amount of money that we made over the year. There's no way we should have had a $600 tax bill as a 14-year-old delivering papers. That does not make a lot of sense. So I'm starting to think that my dad messed up on filing the taxes, but that just goes to show how messed up our freaking tax system is. Like our tax system is so freaking complicated. We have to hire people to do our taxes for us because if we don't, we get audited and then we get screwed, and it's just a huge mess. It's so complicated. In other countries, I've heard, now don't quote me on this because I don't live in other countries, that it's just automatic. The government knows how much money you owe. The government does your taxes for you. They take out the right amount of your paycheck. And if there's a mistake, they just send you more money at the end of the year. You don't have to do taxes. You don't have to spend 5 hours on April 14th going over your paperwork to make sure that you have everything right. But nope, in the United States, it's incredibly complicated. So my dad did our taxes. We ended up owing lots of money. And my entire savings account had to be drained to pay the tax man. And that's my first lesson on taxes. And let me tell you, that was a horrible lesson. You know what my parents told me? They said I should have planned better. And I should have been taking out money I should have been setting more money aside over the course of the year with every paycheck so that I could pay the taxes at the end. Because a 14-year-old is definitely going to know what the ramifications are of being an independent contractor versus a wage employee. And a 14-year-old is definitely going to know that you're going to owe taxes at the end of the year. I did not know any of those things. Neither did my brother. I still remember we were both just hanging out waiting in the bank lobby to take with our parents to have them withdraw all this money, and we had to sign and take the money out, and then the money was just gone, you know? Like that's really sad for a 14 or 15-year-old kid to deal with. Like, we had no idea that that was even a thing, and all that money was just gone to the tax man. So if you are an independent contractor, definitely make sure you're putting money aside. And that's really important, I feel, for anybody who's on here who's a Twitch affiliate, because Twitch is a side hustle. You are not an employee of Twitch. You are technically your own boss when you are doing Twitch. And if you are making any money off of this, you need to report that money to the IRS. And you need to pay taxes on any of that income. And so for those of you who are thinking about doing something like that as a side hustle, or any type of side hustle that you do where your taxes are not being taken out of the income that you make, you have to make sure that you're putting money aside to pay those taxes later when they're due, because the taxes are always going to be due, you know? like like you're never going to be able to escape Mr. Taxman ever. So anyway, that was my really sad tax story and how I learned about taxes. I did write about this once on my blog a few years ago, so I don't know if it was as in-depth or as emotionally charged as this live stream talk, but it was not fun. So anyway, so we have about 10 minutes left on my show. I'm going to call this a show. It's a stream, but whatever. We're going to call it a show because I want to call it that. And I'm going to upload it to YouTube after the 24-hour rule. Technically, I'm a Twitch affiliate. We got to follow Twitch's rules. Twitch's rules are that they own the content for the first 24 hours, so I'm not allowed to put it anywhere else. And that's cool because in 24 hours I can put it to YouTube, so it'll be there for people who weren't able to stop by or just who find me on YouTube. I think it's always good to diversify. That's a good keyword. It's always good to diversify, not only with your assets, but with, you know, your side hustles and your income streams and things like that. So use Twitch, use YouTube, use Twitter, use Pinterest, make a blog, do all of those things, and maybe one day having a combination of all of those things will be just enough money to help you survive without having to have a normal job, because that's like the point of all of this, right? So anyway, I was actually going to ask a question, and that question was, there's about 7 viewers here, and thank you for coming and hanging out, and I appreciate that. But my question for you guys, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, if you just want to be a lurker, that's cool, is this is the first time I'm trying this Monday Night Money thing, and I'm definitely going to do it for at least a few weeks to see if it catches on, see if people enjoy it. So my first question is, A, are you enjoying it? Is it interesting? Is it something that you'd want to tune into again? And my second question to you is, what types of topics would you want to have covered here? Today was a little bit random because, like I said, it was my first time. I wanted to talk about normalizing conversations about money. Then we went into a ton of different things, the gamer stereotypes and poverty traps and the class system. And I know not teaching financial literacy in schools, and then taxes and all sorts of things very briefly were covered during this show. But I want to hear from you if there are any topics that you would actually want us to cover during these money talks. Now, obviously, like my disclaimer said, I am not a financial advisor. We will not talk about specific investing options or advice. I will never tell you to buy this stock or that stock. Can't do that. I will not tell you where to put your money, where to put an inheritance. Can't do that, especially not as a certified financial advisor, but also I don't want this to become just a, hey, I have $2,000, where should I invest it? That's not what this is about. This is more about big picture money topics and normalizing them. So is there any input from the chat about that? I figured I'd be quiet for a second to give you guys a chance to speak up. Well, I know there are so many different topics of conversation that we can have about money. It's such a broad topic, and that's why I think people say don't start a finance blog or something like that because it's so oversaturated. But even if it is oversaturated, there's so many money topics out there. Like some people talk only about investing, and some people talk only about insurance. And I like to talk about all the things, but um, some people don't. Some people talk about saving money on weddings. Like that's their entire niche. Like money is one of the biggest aspects of our lives, and because everything in our life revolves around money, and it has to, because the way society works right now is that we need money to survive. We have to pay for our food, we have to pay for our rent, we have to pay for our utilities. Like we need it. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to advocate for a total utopian society where money is no longer a thing and everybody just gets along. Okay, I am advocating for a utopia, but not. I don't think we're anywhere near getting there with our current system. I don't think we're going to see that type of thing in any of our lifetimes, even though that would be wonderful because it's a utopia and utopia is wonderful. So, so yes, I misspoke there, but the way things are right now, money does impact every aspect of our life. So I think it's important to have these conversations and talk about money and just get it out there, There's normalize these conversations so that people don't feel like it's taboo to talk about money. Did you have something to say, useless hamster? He's over there raising his hand at me, but he doesn't want to be on screen and he doesn't want to be in the chat. So he doesn't get to say nothing. All right, well, I think my topic for next week is not been brainstormed yet. We did go through a lot today, but I think one of the biggest things to talk about, and I think that'll be my topic for next week, and I will do a lot better of writing down an outline so I can stay on topic and not go into all these things, even though, I do get a little distracted sometimes, and it's hard not to go into all the things when money surrounds all the things. But I think for next week, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how everything is related to money. I do have a blog post called Everything is About Money, and I do have a blog post about how politics is related to money. And we're going to talk about both of those things. We're going to talk about how everything in our lives revolves around money. So tune in next week for Monday Night Money when we talk about why money is so important. I mean, we already know, but we dive deep into how money influences every single aspect of our life. And if those of you who want to join me next week can think about something that they want to say about that topic, that would be super awesome. And eventually, I do want to have guests via Discord on this little talk show we have here. I have to figure out how to do that because I'm so dumb when it comes to Discord. But I will figure that out, and I will get some cute little headphones, so there's no, what's that called? Echo. So that'll be fun. But if any of you who are in the chat would like to be like a guest in the Discord, totally let me know. And I think that'd be really cool to feature different opinions and different voices so that this show is not just me talking for an hour straight, but I managed to talk for an hour straight this time, so that's really exciting. So thank you guys for coming. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm going to try to do it every Monday night, at least for a few weeks, to see if there's any interest. And so if you guys want to join me when I just do my normal streaming, I'm going to be streaming some Crosscode on Wednesday night and on Friday night, and I'm going to stream some Super Mario World again on Sunday. So thank you all. I appreciate you coming, and I hope to talk to you guys again next Monday with our Monday Night Money. So have a good night, you guys.